Version 1 or version 2? That's the question I get asked all the time when it comes to the Vaporfly Next Percent. In today's video, we're going to be focusing specifically on the durability aspect. I now have a pair of V1s and a pair of V2s well over 200 miles. And today we're going to be sitting down and I'm going to be giving you guys my verdict on which one is holding up better. What is up guys, Andy Forest Team Runner here. Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be taking the V1s out for a workout and sitting down and talking all about how they're holding up. So durability can be such a key factor when deciding a racing shoe. Now, a few weeks ago I did a video comparing a brand new pair of Next Percent version 2s to a used pair with over 200 miles. Shared with you guys my thoughts and how they were holding up. Now, a lot of us know that the Vaporflies do hold up really well, and once we finish racing them, we can move them over to training. But I thought it would be interesting to come at it from an angle of sharing with you guys a V1 pair after 200 miles and comparing that to a V2, because for me there's a very clear distinct winner as to which one's holding up and which one I still think I could race in. So sit back, relax and enjoy today. I've got a workout video for you. We're going to come back and we're going to talk all about it. So good morning and welcome back to another video. Today I'm excited to share with you my findings on these Vaporfly version 1s. At the moment, 217 miles after this run, should be in and around the 225 to 230 mark, depending on how long the run ends up being, probably 225. So the goal today and what I want to showcase to you guys is performance. How do they perform? How do they feel after this many miles? Obviously I've done a video previously back in the summer about these shoes, talking all about how I felt they're not going to be the best of racing. The grip has kind of gone really. The sheen, the matte, the gloss, whatever you want to call it, that you see a lot on the bottom of the Next Percent 2s and the version 1s when they're brand new, that shine has disappeared. So I was a little bit lacking in confidence in using them for races, going around corners. But in terms of performance, at the time back then in the summer, they did quite well. So the goal today is to see how they're still doing now after digging them back out for, what has it been, 4 months? See how they do and then give you a bit of a comparison with a similar pair of Next Percent 2s that we've got over 200 miles and share with you guys which one I think is holding up better. Is it the version 1s or is it the version 2s? So the goal today is I've got a 10k specific workout. I'll throw it on screen now as to what I'm doing. If you've been following the training series, you'll know this week I've been quite sick. So today's going to be interesting. It's all about effort rather than paces. It's going to be a 10k specific workout. I didn't feel quite up to the VO2 max workout just because the chest, not the chest, the breathing, the snottiness, the sinuses, everything. I thought we'll stick to the 10k one. Less effort, less intensity, hopefully won't take as long for me to recover from it. So without further ado, we're going to roll into this, get some drills and strides done and see how these V1s do. Okay, just done my bounding and strides up to this start point. I need to start at the top of the estate. I was down over there and start here so that I can go all the way down there, do a dog leg, come back down that way and then back onto the estate, because this first one is an 8-minute rep and I can do a mile rep between the start there and the finish, but not 8 minutes. So I need to tack on a little bit here. Some bounding and strides done, drills done. Let's go. Okay, really solid first 8-minute rep, 5:28, 5:29 per mile pace, so that's really good. Shoes feel great, so onto the 4-minute. Right, 5:19 pace, happy days, really happy with that. Let's turn around and start this 7 sets of 75 seconds and 45 seconds. Right, that's the 7 sets done. Time for the last 4x30. This has been a good one. So how about that? What a way to come back from a week of illness. Don't get me wrong, I was blowing a lot of snot rockets, not being gross, but oh, that felt so good, and I'm so happy. Massive confidence boost. Just under 8 miles, 5:55 average pace. Oh, I couldn't ask for more than that. Reps felt good. I started to come unstuck a bit in the sets of 7 on the second one. I did think to myself, this might be tough, but for whatever reason, in the third set, it all just clicked, and absolutely flew through the rest of them. Wind against me going out that way, wind behind me coming back this way, so some of the ones going out that way a bit slower, coming back this way a bit faster, but it just set the tone with that first 8-minute rep. 5:29 average pace, 5:28, fastest I've done all block for that first set, and the goal for that was 10k pace, so over the moon. Shoes were great. We're going to go back and talk about those shortly, versus the next 2s around the same mileage. But just if you've been following the channel, strength training paying off massively. Running upright, no hunching, no stitches. I was getting stitches where I get tired, I'd hunch over, neck would come out, crush the diaphragm, couldn't breathe properly, stitch would ensue. Not today, governor. Upright all the way, even into the wind. Felt really strong, legs opening up nicely, hips are nice and loose from all the work we're doing, stretching. Ah, feels good. This is going to be worth it. This is going to be worth it. So what a workout that ended up being. Absolutely over the moon. Now, if you've been following the channel and following the training series, you'll know this week hasn't been the best for me in terms of illness and sickness. I kind of feel like I'm majoritively over that now, and that weekend's run was the final run in week 4 of my 10k challenge training series. So it ended up going really well, and I have to say, I can't believe these are still feeling as good as they are after 227 miles. So we're going to dive into that now and compare it to the Next Percent version 2, so I can give you guys some thoughts on both of them. So for a quick recap for people that aren't familiar with my channel and don't know my thoughts on these two shoes, I have to say I prefer the version 1 to the version 2. I felt there was a slight foam change when it went from V1 to V2, same in the vaporfly. The V2 feels a little bit more plasticky, a little bit less bounce, and the V1 is just absolutely magic. Most of you agree with me, some of you disagree with me and told me it was all in my head, but that is my preference in terms of the versions. Now, in terms of how they're both holding up after 217 miles and 227 miles, the Vaporflies are quite notorious for just holding up really, really well. I have to say, both of these are great training shoes, and I can get plenty more miles out of them, which means for the Black Friday sales that we've just had, getting some of these for just over £100. These were going on sale for £101. It's insane. The value for money on these is going to be great. Similarly, some V1s pop back up on the app. Sadly, none in my size. I still am hunting for a pair of 13s, and I will get some because these are just the absolute goats of racing shoes. For the price and the mileage you can get out of them, they are just really good. Performance wise, the ZoomX in both the shoes are doing really well. I have to say, I was so impressed with how this shoe performed on that workout. And just like back in the summer when I tested this out, I said at the time, the foam is great. I would still race in the shoe. It's just the grip that lets the shoe down. I just don't feel like I am confident in cornering. I nearly hit the deck when I was doing a workout in it back in the summer. I did hit the deck in my last race I used with this shoe, and I didn't really feel like that on this recent workout, but then I wasn't doing any tight cornering. I was just very cautious with where I was running. The road was wet. I didn't have any issues with wet surfaces. It's more kind of tight cornering. This has gone so slick now, you just have to be careful. Whereas I kind of felt, although the tackiness has gone in this shoe, I do feel in terms of grip, I feel a bit more confident in the version 2. Not quite sure why, but I do. So in terms of confidence and grip and stuff, I have to say the V2 is definitely right up there over the V1, but everything else I've got to give to the version 1. I genuinely still feel like I could race in this shoe and I would lace it up, and if there was a straight road race from A to B and there were no corners, I would actually choose this. I would actually give this thing another go because the foam still felt so responsive. Now don't get me wrong, this still feels really good as well, and I've got to say I'm really impressed with how this thing is holding up after the 200 miles, but as I said, I do feel a difference in the foam. And I think what I would say with the version 2 is what happens when it starts to get a little bit, not older, but there's more miles in the shoe. This still has that bounce, sink, pop, everything about it from the beginning, whereas this starts to feel a tiny bit flatter. Nothing major, but you don't feel the plate in it, but it does feel a tiny bit more rigid than it did originally. Nothing to write it off about, and as I said, bang for your buck in this shoe is great. But I still feel like the foam is almost at its maximal point in this shoe. I still feel like it's holding up so well, and that's the magic of the Alphafly version 1, why I love that shoe, and the magic in this one as well. So I have to say, in terms of both of these shoes, comparing them after such a long duration of mileage, the grip in this thing I kind of trust a little bit more, but this I'd still race in it. The foam is absolutely top notch. So this thing, as I said, is the absolute goat of racing shoes for me. It's just such a brilliant shoe. I am really tempted, I've got to be honest with you, to race in this shoe again at some point. I don't know when and I don't know how, and I've got to think about what race it might be, but I just feel like it deserves one more outing, because the last race I used in it, the Newent 9 last year, over a year ago now, I hit the deck and I feel like it left a negative impact on me. This workout that I've just had was just mind-blowing, and the shoes were just something else. I love them so much. So guys, if you can grab a Next Percent version 1 anywhere on sale, somewhere at a reasonable price, don't pay inflated prices, but if you can grab a pair, do it, because these are just next level. And in terms of durability, as I said, I feel confident racing in these things again. There's no hesitation, it's just the grip. And I know there are products out there that you can kind of tack up the outsole a bit and make it a bit grippier. There's stuff we can buy to use it, so they're a fixer-upper more than anything. So those are my thoughts on the V1 versus the V2. I think they're both great shoes, I think they're both really durable, but the nod has to go to this thing. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Do you have a version 1 or a version 2, or do you have both over a decent amount of mileage, and how do they compare for you? Do you feel the same as me, or do you feel differently? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. That's it from me today, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Until then.